Hello fight fans, welcome back to another episode of my video blog, whatever you want to call it. Split Decision. Split Decision Boxing is my link name on YouTube. Please like and subscribe if you like this video. Anyway, let's go on. Going to talk about sort of the big fight, the big weekend, the big event is now done, dusted. We now have an undefeated heavyweight champion of the world. And those of you that have been going around with your eyes shut or your head buried in the sand, you'll know that that champion is now Alexander Usyk from the Ukraine. And he won on a split decision, points decision, after 12 rounds of pretty grueling stuff, I have to say. Now there is dispute, there is debate, there is those that are still even after we've now got an undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. There are those that will dispute it. There are those that are saying that they think Tyson won. There are those that are saying they think it should have been a draw, and those that are clearly in the Usyk camp. Opinions are divided on the points awarded and how those decisions, those points were arrived at. My overview on the fight, now as you know, if you watch my last video, you will know that I predicted a points decision victory for Usyk. However, I did fall on a unanimous decision. I did sort of, you'll see if you watch the video, I did sort of hesitate and consider that it might be a split decision, which it was. The manner of that split decision is what the debate is about. So for me, I think it was much more clear cut than people are talking about. I think Usyk, for me, won it comfortably. First 3 or 4 rounds could have gone either way. I can see the argument that you could give it for Fury, but equally I could see the argument, and in my opinion, I gave him to Usyk. So, you know, we had, this is just me, my opinion, I had Usyk already ahead come these middle rounds. Now, we all know what happened in those middle rounds. Fury got caught. I think he got his nose busted. You watch the replays of that event, and you can see that the pain, and you can see him wince and flinch, and the look of surprise. Actually, I think possibly with the power of Usyk's punch as it landed on his nose. And that set us up very nicely. He went back to his corner, and you know, you could see that he was in a bit of trouble there. And then that set us up nicely for the round where Usyk smashed Fury, for want of a better word, from one side of the ring to the other and back again. And here's the point of contention. This is the purpose I wanted to discuss this. So eventually, after smashing Fury with no reply for several seconds, many seconds, Fury ends up sort of wedged on the corner, just off of the corner on the ropes, with a look of what I can only describe as surprise, shock, pain, and what the fuck is happening to me on his face, as Usyk launched a barrage of punches on Fury. And he started to slide down the ropes. He was gone. Now, I'm going to stop the action at that point, right? Number one question, Why did Usyk back off? Why didn't he stay on him and just batter him? Number two, why did the referee get between them and deem it a knockdown? I know what you're going to say. You're going to say the rules of the sport are, if he's being supported, the only thing that's keeping him up is the ropes, then it's deemed a knockdown and should be a mandatory 8 count. Maybe. Maybe you're right. But how many fights have you seen? And I'm going to give you a good example, right? Let's go back to Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson's days. Mike Tyson when he was, ruling the roost. And then he went to prison. And then he came out. And Frank Bruno was world champion. And Mike Tyson got a shot. So his second go at Bruno, or Bruno's second go at Tyson, should I say, ended up with a very, very similar situation. Tyson's hit Bruno unreplied many times, backed him into the corner. Bruno's slid down, he's supported on the ropes. He's clearly going to, let's stop it there at the same point. The two differences are the same point. Difference number one, Tyson being the killer that he was, having that killer instinct that he did. Mike Tyson, I'm talking about here, by the way. Mike Tyson being the killer fighter that he was, he wasn't going to stop punching Bruno until the referee stopped him. He wasn't backing off. You had to physically get in between him to stop him. And in some cases, even then, as his previous fights showed, he carried on punching. Okay, I'm not advocating that. But that's the difference between having that killer instinct and making sure you're winning this fight, right? So he carried on going. He kept punching, he kept hitting him, right? Until the referee had no choice but to get between them and do that. It's over. He's hitting you and you're not responding. It's game over. I'm sorry. You're out. Because if I don't stop it now, you will be knocked out cold and possibly hurt. Now let's transfer that back to Usyk and Fury. He's on the ropes. He's not replying. He's slid down the ropes. His eyes are glazed. He's got a look of shock and bewilderment on his face. Usyk, do not back off. Stay on him now. Hit him with everything you've got, an onslaught, until the referee pushes you out of the way, gets between you, and goes like that. That's what he should have done. Because I'm telling you now, there would have been no dispute. There'd have been no arguments. There'd have been no controversy. People would have gone, that was a stoppage all day long. Referee stopped him to stop him receiving further damage. Okay. It was near the end of the round. Very near the end of the round. Point number 3 here. When the referee did get between them and stop the fight and give it a mandatory 8, did you see how long that count was? From the time he stopped him to the time he reached 10, come towards me, all that, walk towards me, are you okay? Look in his eyes. That was a good 20 seconds, if not more. If not more. Now, we all know what they say about our wonderful, beautiful sport of boxing. That we all know what they say about fixed fights, corruptness, and all that kind of stuff. I'm not going to go down that road, but I am going to go down the road of saying that perhaps there was a vested interest from the powers above to ensure that Tyson Fury was given every opportunity to win that fight, or to not lose that fight, or to not get knocked out. We've seen it before. We've seen all kinds of instances. You can talk about, You can talk about the ripped glove, Angelo Dundee, Muhammad Ali against Henry Cooper, when their golden nugget had been put on his backside by Henry Zammer and potentially was going to be ended in the next round because he was still dazed and glazed. We could talk about many instances where there's been long counts and controversial decisions and stoppages that weren't stoppages and non-stoppages that should have been stoppages. I think George Groves comes to mind against Frotch. So that's what happened, right? That we can't change history now, and the history books will show you that Usyk is the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world at this moment in time. I understand the IBF are going to be stripping him of his belt, from what I've read, unless that's a scam, almost immediately, because the mandatory fight that they want will not be the fight that is agreed on contract, because Fury has triggered the rematch clause, immediate rematch clause, and that will contravene IBF's rules of mandatory defence and the fighter that they want him to fight against. So, it all becomes, again, very political, and the belts get split and blah-de-blah-de-blah. So, in my opinion, that will mean that if he does fight, if the mandatory is Fury, and if that does happen, I know Fury has said right now that that's what he wants to happen. But what Fury says one day and what he says perhaps a couple of hours later are often very, very different things. But at the moment, as it stands, Fury has triggered the rematch, the mandatory, automatic, immediate rematch clause, which means that Usyk next fight will have to be the rematch against Fury. But it won't be for an undisputed, undefeated heavyweight championship of the world, will it? Or undisputed, should I say? Because Fury is no longer undefeated, so that's a possibility that changes things. B, if the IBF are taking their version of the world title belt away from Usyk, it won't be undisputed. And we're back in the situation where Fury, should he win, will be the unified heavyweight champion of the world, but not the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, because that belt will be vacated. It's bullshit, isn't it? Really, honestly. Yeah, let's get it on. Let's get them both together. Let's get them both in the ring. I was going to say let's sort it once and for all, but in my opinion, we did sort it once and for all. But I think both will go back to their camps and they will recuperate and they will look at the fight and they will assess. And I'm sure Fury will look at that fight, look at the footage of that fight and perhaps retract his words at the end of the fight where he said he thought he won the fight. How he thought he won it, I don't know. I don't know where that came from. And perhaps we'll have a close look and realise the errors that he made. And what were the errors that he made? Well, I think he took it too lightly. I think he thought the fight was his for the taking. And he underestimated Usyk. He underestimated his power, B, his boxing ability, his speed, his movement, and definitely underestimated his resilience, his ability to take a punch. Because if what we read is true, that Usyk had to go to the hospital because of a possible broken jaw, and there's no doubt about it. Both fighters were pretty busted up after that fight. What a man to take all that. I mean, some of them uppercuts that were landing from Fury were awesome. Some of the body shots that were landing from Fury, there are a lot of fighters would have gone down with the body shots. Usyk didn't. He took them. He was hurt. You could see he was hurt, but he took them. And I think Fury went into that fight. Funnily enough, I was listening to a YouTube video earlier today, watching a YouTube video earlier today with Joe Egan. And he was saying that he, in his opinion, this is just was just his opinion, that he felt Fury went into that fight and his training camp wasn't complete. It wasn't the fullest, fittest that it could have been for Fury. That may be right, by the way. That may be right. He broke his camp several times to go and do other stuff, media stuff, watching other fights, etc., etc. Whereas, excuse me, my camera just fell down for the second time. I think I'll just hold it. Whereas Usyk didn't break his camp at all. Usyk was focused purely 100% on Fury. And maybe that was the difference. I don't know. Maybe that was the difference. So maybe this warrants a rematch, because maybe there is unfinished business here that needs to be sorted. And if there is unfinished business here that needs to be sorted, do you want to know my opinion? I'll give you my opinion. My opinion is this. I think Usyk broke his heart as well as his will. And I think, should we have a second fight, not only will Usyk train harder and be even fitter and better, but he knows what Tyson brings. He knows that he can get caught in the body shots and he can get caught with those uppercuts. And I'm pretty certain he will fight in a manner, he will prepare in a manner that will prepare him for whatever Fury could bring. And I believe that Fury will come into them fights a better fighter, a more capable fighter, and he will be ready for whatever Usyk brings. It will be interesting. I think it will be better than the first fight. The first fight was a great fight, by the way, but I think if they can get it on and do it again, I believe we're going to be in for an even better night of boxing entertainment. Let's see. Be interested to hear what your thoughts are, everybody. Please put your comments in the comments below. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it the thumbs up. And do me a big favour. If you like this video and you like my previous video and you like my prediction, which was correct, by the way, the only difference I got was a split decision rather than unanimous. Do me a favour, subscribe, like, thumbs up, comment. Cheers, guys. Keep fighting.